Gayatri Mahamantra with your back straight. Om Bhurabhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Saturday Sattva series ongoing upon the mystical Gayatri Mahamantra, part number 21. We embark upon the last word of Gayatri Mahamantra, that is Prachodayat. The Prachodayat is the most important word upon which the entire Gayatri Mahamantra reveals, unravels, unleashes its outcome. Prachodayat. It means to drive the seat of my understanding. Rightfully put, intervene and come to drive the seat of my understanding. Don't leave it upon me. Oh, the source of divine effulgence, come, drive the seat of my understanding. Do not leave merely upon me. I am vulnerable to impulsive, instinctive behavior and responses. Arjuna has to remain in the outward dimension. Who is Arjuna? You, me, all of us. We all are timeless Arjuna. We have to remain in the outward dimension, but the right decisions and its compliance has to be ensured by the divine intervention that shall ensure to steer the vehicle of this existence to move upon righteousness. That is why he, the Keshava, or it, the Keshava, is seated as the driver of the chariot, for he controls the direction and the state of the movement by its own self. Recall that same symbolic representation of Krishna Arjuna Ratha. He or it beholds the maneuver of all of my 6 directions and all of my 10 senses, knowledge and action oriented. Right direction ensures the right state, and that depends upon the kind of decisions, discernment by a seeker. The seeker in submitted form must be able to comprehend with clarity the divine intuitive input and follow the mandate of the divine that manifests within him or her. But is that so easy? It can be mentioned in one line to comprehend the divine intuitive input. But is that easy? With this doubt-prone mind and this always wobbling intellect, which is always uncertain about many important aspects of life, tries to throng upon multiplicity. Is that so easy to comprehend the divine input? Yeah, it's like searching for a needle in a mass of hay. Not that easy. Really not that easy. But then what is the outcome? The outcome is the sadhana itself. Sadhana, observed with austerity, renders clarity to the seeker in order to discern between different kinds of this thought-popping machine inputs, so that you can gather an ability to discern between a brain product or a divine input of an intuit. Having said that, still I maintain my previous line. It is not that easy. It requires a lot of purification between my own self, yourself, before we come down to that level where we can easily discern between the swarming mass of the thoughts that are continuously popping from mindlessly from the superficial mind And that one single divine intuitive input that may have manifested once in a week or once in a day, let it not be lost. Let it be understood. Let it be under our comprehension with clarity so that we can follow its mandate and steer in accordance to that. That is sadhana. Because prachodhyat is to offer the seat of our understanding to the divine effulgence. We do not know. We do not know what is right or wrong. Even though the fact remains that we know what is right and what is wrong for us, yet we are not able to take a firm stand and become repulsive to our instinctive impulses. No, we always get swayed by the storm, the tornado of our craving senses, and we're driven apart. All of our efforts towards righteousness, observation of abstinence are thwarted, are simply thwarted by the storm of the sensorial drivers. Who then has to take the charge in order to not only thwart the deflecting agents, but at the same time give us the right direction? And that is why symbolic representation of Krishna Arjuna Rath in a way is also a symbolic representation of Gayatri Mahamantra, because everything depends ultimately upon who is at the driving seat, who is at the helm. I know what is good for myself, and I really ascertain to do good for my own self. I am not inimical to my own interest, but yet I am unable to follow the right pursuit. I discern one thing, embark upon another, and at the ultimate nick of the time, something else happens through me. Nothing of this kind should happen through an institution as a human, with all components and members within mind, intellect, chitta, ego, and the body as well. And for that, prachodhyat unravels. It unravels that the seat of understanding has to be offered to it, the divine effulgence. And that can only happen when we follow austerity with sadhana. Sadhana with austerity. Devoid of austerity? No, may render a yield which is minimalistic. If you really want the justice to be done, not you only, it's for me also. If I want the justice to be done for my sadhana, in the interest of my sadhana, then austerity and observation of sadhana of Gayatri have to travel together. Together. Short of that, no, the results are not going to come the way they should come. And that is what has to be understood. Because prachodhyat means to follow the mandate of the divine intuit, follow the mandate of the righteousness, follow the mandate of the true discernment between different facts of life. That is prachodhyat, to be driven by them, not to become vulnerable the last moment. The essence of the prachodhyat has been given by our exalted masters as service. They say prachodhyat in true sense means service. Now, how do we relate service with the prachodhyat? I wish to bring in over here an occurrence that transpired between me and my exalted master decades ago. I was seated right affront him on my Vajrasan. He was on his bed. He was gazing into my eyes. And then he all of a sudden brought in a question abruptly. And he asked me. It used to be a monologue, appeared to be a dialogue, but it was an absolute monologue. And inquired me, have you seen God? I just smiled. And then he replied by himself, as the monologue should continue, even I have not seen the God. Then he continued, is the God with 12 hands? 10 hands? I don't know. But the way I know the God is in the form of a right emotion, sympathy, and service. I don't know these words in English would be befitting to the aptness of the words in Hindi, but yet they are the ones that approximate that. In Hindi, he said, Beta, Bhagwan bhavana hai, Bhagwan samvedana hai, Bhagwan seva hai. When you are charged with a positive emotion to serve, moved by a spine reveling current of service, consider that particular move of sympathy as God. जब सद्भावना में मन रत हो, संवेदना जागे, सेवा में मन जुटे, तो जानो भगवान आ गए. Apart from that, I don't know if there is any other form of God or not. So, prachodhyat in the form of service is also the invocation of the God. Rightly to be understood, service does not mean selfless service, especially does not mean that service without profit or with profit. If you rightfully study Karma Yoga, the right interpretation shall unravel few facts before you. With profit or without profit, do not make a selfless service. There are so many places where people engage themselves as a selfless service without profit, whereas they are not able to give their 100% to that particular pursuit. They undergo so much of promiscuity that everything becomes colored. They are not. And there are places where people in a business enterprise offer service with sheer dedication and devotion that the consumers always come back to them with 100% confidence and deep satisfaction. That should also be understood as service. Service is the yajna. Service has nothing to do with profit or without profit. If rightly understood, any kind of a service with profit or without profit, irrespective, accomplished with sheer dedication and devotion, is prachodhyat, is the service. That is the service. Rightfully understood, the seat of understanding must be always engaged, immersed in a divine effulgence to discern and determine the outcome, the decisions, the understanding, the perceptory windows. They always unravel before us our values and understanding that lead us towards the right kind of service. Acts performed in one's life enable one harvest a crop. We sow through our acts, and as an outcome, we harvest the crop. That's all the karma theory all about. Let's understand the meaning of prachodhyat as the right kind of a service, because service is ultimately the outcome that has to now be interpreted or translated as an act. Having said that, with all credits that go to my great master, who is the 100% source of this understanding that I've shared through these series, and much more has to come, because each and every single word of Gayatri Mahamantra is a voluminous compilation. It's a research by those unknown great masters accomplished during those unknown times. It comprises so much of immensity that a human in his own form may not be able to do much of it justice unless he or she is an exalted one like my great master. More to come in the next series. For now, Om Hi Satya Hai, Om Hi Satya Hai, Om Hi Satya Hai.